I do not care about your immigration status. If you are looking for a better life and you just want to live in a safe community, welcome to America. If it affects your life, it's worth examining. This is the Journalism of Everything. I am an independent journalist and host, Darisse Smith. I want to start with where I'm coming from on immigration. I am not an immigrant. My family came over here sometime long ago from Scotland and Ireland and settled in the hollers of Tennessee and West Virginia. I am white, and I grew up privileged. I was the daughter of a lawyer turned circuit court judge, and my mom was a well-respected legal secretary. They sent me and my brother to private schools where I received an excellent education, and I went to a private college, which I paid for partially with my service in the Army. I have been afforded every opportunity that this country promises to offer. I want others to have that. I do not believe it takes away from me for someone else to enjoy freedom and opportunity. I believe that new and different cultures add to the greatness of America. If you come here to work, to support, and raise your family, to live a full life, then welcome to America. I know that some people come here and commit crimes, and they should go through the justice system just like everyone else. But a vast majority of people who come here from other countries just want a better life and believe that America offers that, or at least used to. And honestly, if you come here illegally, but join the workforce and contribute to your community, I do not really care what your legal status is. I don't. Because it does not take away from me. And if you think it takes away from you, you might need to look inward. I think diversity makes America better. That's what we are. We're an entire nation of immigrants just who came at different times. And unless you're a Native American, we're all immigrants to this landmass that we call America. The United States of America has a GDP of $30 trillion. We are the wealthiest country in the world. China is number 2 at $19 trillion, $11 trillion less than the United States. We might be the wealthiest country in the world, but I no longer believe we are the greatest. There is a wealth of opportunity in this country, but only for a select few. We have had a strong democracy in the past, well designed with checks and balances, a reverently held constitution that guarantees certain rights. And yet people still walk around their communities living in fear of being snatched by our government in the form of ICE at the moment, of being harassed because they look differently. They live in fear of getting sick and not being able to afford their medical debt, of not being able to afford college tuition, not being able to afford groceries, even though they work multiple jobs, not being able to afford a roof over their head. The United States is a country where no one should suffer, but many people do. Because some people fear differences. Some people fear a different culture, a different religion, or a different way of navigating life. It is different from me, so it is wrong. I think that the idea that illegal immigrants are largely dangerous and violent is just a narrative to put them in the category of lesser than. It is why the Trump administration calls undocumented individuals illegal aliens, because they don't want you to see them as human beings. Language matters. I believe in our right to protest. I believe in every state in our country, from Florida to Minnesota to California to Maine, can choose to protest, especially when it seems like the government is sending untrained agents of chaos into our communities. Hold up your picket signs, blow those whistles, tell the ICE agents to go home. I think there are some really other ways, very productive ways of protesting, which leads me to my interview guest today, Peter, founder of a crowdsourced live tracking map app to alert people in your community of police or ICE presence. This is a really clever way of helping people who live in fear to be able to live and breathe in their communities. Enjoy this interview and my discussion with Peter about the Coqui app, immigration, and lots of other things. All right. Well, I know you've got a lot going on, so I'll kind of get into things and,
Okay. Yep.
you know, sort of do a very quick introduction and then we'll get rolling. Because as we're
Whenever you're
talking,
ready.
it's January 27th. It's 2 days after another murder in Minneapolis. So we'll, kind of get into it. But so I am joined today by, do you prefer Pete or Peter?
Either one. You can call me Peter. It's fine. That's
Okay.
good.
Okay. He is the founder of Coqui, a live map-based community alert app, and it allows you to mark what's happening near you at a spot, check what others are seeing, and stay connected in real time. It can be used to track ICE and police presence. And on your website, you say it's your map. Just make sure it's relevant, respectful, and real. The pins are to create situational awareness, not to point fingers or encourage confrontation. So, in your words, tell me what all the Coqui app does.
Okay. So there's from where it started to where it is now, it's
Yeah.
evolved, and
Okay.
there's a lot of different features, but then that would take like, hours for me to kind of take you through it all. But very quickly, it's a crowdsourcing of information app that basically it works a lot like the Waze app. So anybody can go on there, they can mark where they're seeing ICE activity, share it with everyone at that marker location. People can jump on, they can join chats, they can upload photos, so people can see what's going on around them. We've also we designed this and built it with rapid response networks across the country, which are basically mutual aid organizations that keep their communities aware and safe when there's ICE activity. So we went to them and said, hey, what would be the best tool that could help you? So with them, we designed this tool. We created something called Coqui communities. So now all these little rapid response networks can have their own private network where they can invite their own neighborhood and community members. We've also created another feature called Coqui Allies, where in one weekend we got 40 different businesses in New York City in the five boroughs
Oh,
to
wow.
sign up, where they agree to use the app. We pin them on our map. And so like one of the experiences that we had when in my little community is like a lot of the people that are worried about ICE, were like terrified to go get their hair cut or go to the bank or go to the pharmacy. So these little businesses have agreed to use the app, pin themselves on the map, and so now all the users in this area or like around will know like, hey, there's somebody using the app at that business right now. So I know that it's safe for me to go. Let's say it's a pharmacy. I can go pick up my medicine, knowing that there's nothing going on right there because, Joe Schmo pharmacy guy is using the app, and if there's something going on, he'd drop a marker and
Oh,
alert everybody.
oh, interesting.
Um, yeah, yeah. So in short, I'd say this, it's basically it works like Waze, except for dropping a marker for traffic or a pothole or a policeman. You can drop a marker and alert your loved ones when there's ice activity nearby.
Yeah. And your app also, I noticed you can do the picture, take a picture, which is a
Yeah,
nice thing too.
yeah. So if I'm in that area, I can open up a marker or create a marker, take a photo, drop it, and there's like chat right there. So anybody can jump in and communicate with one another right about that specific marker.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing that we built with this app, which was really important, was like misinformation and trolling protection. And that's a little bit of like an evolving process because people can be very creative and they can really try and screw with you. Like we just had a big bot attack that we had to kind of tamp
Oh,
down.
hmm.
But um, but yeah, we have like a lot of like protections and protocols in there so that people, that they can't abuse the system. So
Oh, that's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's pretty great.
Because you have to be within 5 miles to actually even pin anything, right? Or mark, report.
Right, so for the global map, you have to
Uh-huh.
be within a certain distance, you have to be within 5 miles. A lot of the rapid when you start up your own little network, and it doesn't have to be a rapid response network. You could like you could go and create your
Hmm.
own little Coqui community and go out to all your friends and say, hey, here's the code to join. And then right in there, you can say, you set up all your own settings. You say, hey, this is how far you have to be from, from dropping a marker or from confirming if it's that, yes, or, if it's there or not. Um, and that's so when I say crowdsourcing, that's like one of the things I think is like the most powerful thing about this app, which is why it's so important to have so many, like to have like the network effects and have so many users, is that um it's you have the crowdsourcing of information where people go in and they'll verify whether it's there or not.
Hmm.
So, if you go on a marker and you open it up in the app and you see someone has dropped a spot, and then there's a chart that will tell you like hour by hour how many people have said yes, how many people have
Oh,
said no, right?
oh,
So
okay.
you'll get like kind of like the community confirmation
Oh,
of
yeah.
what's really happening around you,
Oh,
if
nice.
that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. So you mentioned a little bit of it. I mean, how did you initially decide to create it? Was this a direct response from more ice presence or was it something else,
Yeah. It was, yeah, a bit of everything. I mean, a bit
Yeah.
of, hello, sorry.
Hello. That's okay.
This is Thor. Thor has
Oh,
six toes on each hand. You can
no
believe that.
kidding. Like the Hemingway cats.
That's wow. Yes. Wow. You're
I'm
the
a
first
Floridian.
person
I
that,
know about the Hemingway cats.
there you go. So, yes. So I live in a small little kind of rural community. We run this little animal rescue farm, and we were very tied into the immigrant community.
Mhm.
These are my friends, my family, loved ones, and people were living in fear. And in the beginning, it was myself and my wife like driving people to get their groceries or if they were comfortable enough to, come to a farm or a neighboring farm, driving them home in like a caravan of people and stopping and saying, okay, it's all safe. And then people
Mm,
following that, and doing that whole dance. And I just thought like there's such great technology out there. There's got to be a better way to do this. And I was doing research. I couldn't, really figure out any of the existing tools that were out there to kind of use them.
hmm.
So we decided to create Coqui.
Yeah, yeah, that's a neat
Yeah,
idea.
and we did it, and the first versions were nothing like it is now, but it worked.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it was like a much like thinner, skinnier, but way more buggy version than it is now.
right.
But it worked,
Yeah,
and in short order, like we went from like 5 users to a ton of users, just all in
wow.
this little area. And then
Wow.
I saw that it worked, and I said, okay, well, this is a great tool for us. We could use, we should start pushing it out.
Hmm.
And then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just did a search and yours was, one of the first ones to pop up, which is, pretty
Yeah,
impressive. Just just because there's a lot of different, maybe not specifically ice tracking apps, but like, crowdsourcing apps. How
yeah.
did you know how to do this? This is a lot of coding, right? And is it part of your
I don't know how
background?
to do it. I don't know how to do any of this.
Okay.
I hired people.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm
Yeah,
like I'm a bit of like a serial entrepreneur.
yeah,
Not a very successful one, but I love to kind of take on new projects
yeah,
and get them going, and I
yeah,
can find the right people.
yeah.
So that's what I did.
That's neat. Yeah,
I kind of pulled a bunch of people together and got the people with the brains in the room, and
right.
gave them my vision and my idea, and they built it.
Wow, that's amazing. My husband, actually, the reason we live out here is he works for Esri, which does like a lot of the mapping. They do like ArcGIS and a lot of different mapping software. And I told him about this, and he was like, "Oh, that is a cool way of using like a map and data points and that sort of thing." He does like cybersecurity and a
Oh,
lot of things I
cool.
don't understand.
Well, if he has any ideas how the technology could be used
Yeah,
in any other way, I mean, we're trying to figure out ways to kind of to keep funding this thing, because as of
yeah,
now, it's been it's been coming out of my pocket. So it's
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
trying to figure out ways to quote unquote monetize the app.
yeah,
Um, but the issue, it's not something that could be really self-sustainable with the client base, because one of the key features of this app is that it's built to be completely anonymous, right? So when you come on and you use the app, there's not one stitch of your personal data that we take, we
hmm,
keep, we save, like nothing. So if you were going to start trying to offer this to be for sale, then you have to start like start processing credit cards and things like that. So it's like, no, we're not
yeah,
doing that.
yeah. That's really tricky, especially in today's environment, also. Um, well, how did you come up with the name Coqui?
Okay, so Coqui is named after a little Puerto Rican tree frog
Yeah.
that I guess it's kind of like in that culture, it's like a symbol of um like solidarity, and like even being like being kind of small and tiny, having a really like being able to have a very loud voice.
Oh,
um and I came across Coqui because I lived in Puerto Rico for like 5 years.
oh, neat.
Yeah, I was down there. I was working in the financial services business, and I fell in love with the culture, and that little frog. There was a big tree outside the place I lived, and there was like a ton of cookies, and I would wake up every morning and every day, hear them all day, the little cookie frog. So yeah, so I guess that stuck with me.
Yeah, that's a great image. Like the you're very small, but you make a big noise.
Y-
It's like
Yeah,
having a
it's like
cricket
an
in your house,
alert.
kind of.
Yeah, and that's actually it's cool. Like on our app, the sound of the alert. So if you're driving and someone's put a marker down, and you set your alerts to say, hey, like when I come up close to a marker, I want to be notified. It's the sound of the Coqui. It goes Coqui,
Oh,
Coqui.
oh, neat. I love
Yeah, so
that.
it's yeah, it's the way the Cookie Frog sounds. It's pretty
Oh,
cool.
neat. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I saw your motto is Juntos Podemos, which
yeah.
means in English,
Those videos.
together we can.
Yep.
So this is an encouraging motto, but do you think it could be interpreted as like a challenge? Like, I guess together we can what? You know?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they people want to look at it that way, then that's on them. I mean, I
Right.
just kind of look at it like, there's right and wrong,
Yeah.
and I know that I know the side I'm on, and
Yeah.
I just want to kind of invite everybody that can kind of be clear-headed and have
Hmm.
some sight down the road and also sight behind us and see everything that this world has been through and all the mistakes we've made in the past, and that this is just exactly what we're marching down that same road. um that we don't have to do that, and
Yeah.
we can stop, and we can do it together. But something, especially an app like this, the we is huge, right?
Yeah.
Because it's crowdsourcing of information. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like if you think about the Waze app, like the Waze app is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But if there's one person using it,
Right.
it doesn't
That's
matter,
true.
right? Like we have
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
everybody working together. And
Yeah. That's
it's not
true.
the most convenient thing, and but
Yeah.
it's important. I mean,
Yeah.
it's our country. This is our way of life, and I think it really matters.
Yeah. I know. I thought it was interesting because I feel a lot of times I consume so much media because that's what I do. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm interested in also. And it feels even though I have a voice, I feel very powerless a lot of times. And
totally.
I mean a lot. And
Yeah,
so this is
yeah,
such an interesting way of doing something, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I mean, I think protesting is super important, especially that we're able to do it and we're allowed to do it in this country. But sometimes it feels like, well, what did we accomplish? You
one
know, so this is so
one
productive.
1,000%. It's like
Yeah.
you feels like you're like screaming into a hurricane,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then after it, it's like, okay, but what happened? Like
Hmm.
all the barriers get put back, the signs get pulled down, and then maybe there's a 5 second clip on the news.
Yeah.
But then what?
Yeah.
So I think something like this is it's like you're actually doing something, and it's not like a one-time thing, like oh, protest on Friday night at Foley
Hmm.
Square or wherever. It's every day.
Yeah.
Every day I open up my app. If I'm driving around, I drop markers down. I
Hmm.
send alerts to people. It's
Yeah.
you're in it. You're in the fight, like every
Right.
single day, and you're participating.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
get to kind of pulse, you get some of that control back, which is meant for your mental is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And for me, I try to do a lot on just on social media, trying to get conversations started with people who disagree with me because I feel like at some point it got so negative and so evil sometimes.
Yeah,
I know for me, I stopped talking to people who disagree.
yeah,
And I'm like, we got to start talking again because people have a reason for what they believe, whether I believe it or not. And it's good to exchange information. Sometimes it gets
yeah,
ugly, but most
yeah,
people are want to talk, and it's sort of like this,
yeah.
I don't know,
It's
just
it's very difficult to have those conversations. And I think part of it is because what I have found, and this isn't everybody, but what my personal experience is that a lot of the times you try and have these conversations, the other side isn't always like having the conversation in good faith.
Yeah.
They just want to win.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
and then when you start to challenge, some of the, the underlying, themes or thoughts or whatever,
Hmm.
it's just kind of you just very quick to say, well, I don't want to talk to you about this because this is politics and
Right.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I had to deal with that like with some of my family members,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
It is. It's especially when it's family, but it is tough because I mean there's plenty of people in my orbit who I've had disagreements with that I don't want to, isolate, but I want to talk to them. And then I have other people who say, well, I don't want to talk about politics. And I just say, well, that's kind of a privilege for you then, isn't it? That
Yeah, right.
don't, it's not affecting you, you know?
Yeah.
And usually that gets them either annoyed with me or,
I think it would be amazing if you did like a podcast about like how to have those conversations.
yeah, yeah,
Like, 'cause I think you're right. I mean,
yeah,
I think that's an amazing thought. It's like, where are we going to get with any of this without a conversation, without like, not only having the other side's ideas challenged, but even having our own ideas challenged,
yeah, yeah,
right? 'Cause I don't know what I don't know.
right.
So challenge me. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's been kind of interesting. We're gonna do more of that this year, just to get because I just think we just stopped talking to each other and we've got to for all of
Yeah.
our sake, as a country. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to
Okay.
the app here. Um, so so there are plenty of critics of this kind of app, and they
Yeah.
say these apps
Plenty.
could be used to incite violence against ICE agents. I mean, is there any evidence of that? And I guess what
No.
do you say to that?
There's absolutely no evidence of that.
Mhm.
In fact, the deputy director of how was it? Was it sorry, deputy? Some bigwig in Trump's orbit that has said when Ice Block had first launched,
Hmm.
came out and had said that they were worried about the actually, you know what it was? It was on there was an interview that I did with CBS.
Okay.
And in that interview,
Oh,
they went because they were talking to me about Coqui. They went to the deputy director of whichever, three-letter
right.
organization in the government it is. I'm totally blanking right now. But they came out and said what you had, came out with
Mhm.
the thesis of, oh well, these apps are going to harm our agents and blah 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 blah. And my rebuttal to that was, well, show us where that's happened.
Yeah.
And there has not been one bit of evidence that that has ever happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I mean, even most of the protests that I have seen have not, I mean, people are yelling and blowing whistles, but I would not call them violent from the
yeah,
protesters or, if
yeah. I
that's the
mean, this is it's a silly argument. I mean, it would be like saying, I mean, there's really other than the speed at which
Mhm.
things can happen. I mean, essentially, it's really no different than picking up a telephone.
Yeah.
Like, so, Matt, it's like, oh, you're not like the next step would be for them to say, well, you're not allowed to pick up the telephone and call your friend and
Hmm.
say, hey, John, or, say, hey, Johnny, ice is around the corner. Because then Johnny could go around the corner and attack ice.
Right.
I mean, it's really nothing more than a communication tool. And this is at its core, whether you agree or disagree with the politics, this is really an issue of freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
is protected by the Constitution. And I think it's like Section 230 or Section 2, I can't remember right now, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's protected speech.
Yeah,
So
that's true. And also, I think most people just want to avoid where they are. They don't necessarily want to go and engage. They're just like you said, they're people just wanting to go to the pharmacy or go to, to work, just live their lives, not necessarily,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It just lets it's just simple awareness. It allows, I'm sorry, sweetheart. It just
no.
allows people to to be aware of what's going on around them in their community and then make choices about their own safety. And
Hmm.
and it's not about trying to avoid 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 ice or avoid. It's just like, hey, I don't, I want to be aware of what's going on around me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like Waze, which has saved me many times with police reports or accidents, or, I
Yeah.
drove from uh from Irvine over here to Ukaipa, which is about 65 miles every day for 2 years on one of the worst traffic highways in the country. And Waze, without the community reporting, without that, I think I'd still be in Irvine.
Yeah, probably. But it's interesting. It's like a lot of the people that have used the app that have reached out to me, a lot of them have said like, that they're not undocumented. They're
Hmm.
here, they're living legally.
Hmm.
They just, they have a life, they have a family, they have to get their kids to school, they got to get to the pharmacy, they got to get their hair cut, they got to get groceries. And the last thing they need is to be like stopped and embroiled in some big ice raid and they get shipped off to some
Right.
country because they didn't
Yeah.
have their license or whatever. And
Yeah.
that, when we talk about evidence of, people's lives being hurt as a result of ICE's actions, that has happened. There is
Yeah.
good evidence of that.
Hmm. Yeah. Just because their color of skin is, you
It's
know,
different.
it's
Yeah.
different. Exactly. It's yeah. Um, so your app was previously on both the Apple Store and Google Play Store. And then
Yeah.
now when was it removed? And then were you ever given an official reason why?
Yeah. So we're still on Apple.
Okay.
Um, Google took us down over the summer
Okay.
and they did not give us any reason for it.
Mm.
We've been working with Jamie, House member Jamie Raskin's investigation
Okay.
on government interference with big tech and shutting these apps down. So we can't really go too much into that stuff,
That's okay. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean it's a concern. Um,
Hmm.
why they would do this. I mean, it's clear as day. You look at like, Google just turned off an app that basically is doing the same thing that Waze does,
Hmm.
right? But our
Yeah.
app is just doing it for a population of people that, you know, that that is being harassed by the government, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's a problem. But
Yeah.
on our website, we've actually created it's called a side loading program.
Hmm.
So when you go to getcoqui.com, you'll go down, you can see there's a link to Apple. You click on that, it takes you to the App Store. When you click on Android, it takes you to our side loading program, and there's prompts right there. You take it, downloads right to your Android. It's totally safe.
Okay.
It's works just like just works just like it would if you got it off of Android.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Well, that's good. So there's been another sort of similar creator of a similar immigration reporting kind of app, Joshua Aaron, who created
Yeah.
Ice Block. And he has been sued, and his wife has been fired from her job at the DOJ in Texas. Do you worry that you're in danger? Do you have any concerns for that?
Just curiosity, who sued him? Or did he?
The Department of Justice sued him.
I thought he sued them. No?
Oh, maybe I'll before I get into it, I'll put that in. But I thought it
Yeah,
was
I'm
a
not.
I thought he countersued them because they
Oh,
like,
maybe,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
I don't know.
But his wife lost her job at the
Yeah,
Department of Justice also. So
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, of course there's yeah. I mean, is there going to be, I think he got hit hard by this because he was the first one
yeah.
to kind of launch his app, so he got the massive rush of of all the early
Hmm.
adopters. So he had a big target on his head,
Yeah. Yeah.
on his back. But
Yeah.
and that's a shame. And he was very brave to do that. And if I was like right behind. I mean, I didn't think anyone else was gonna do the app, and we started building the app back in like December,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, so we were like building it the whole time. Started because we knew what was coming,
Yeah.
um, but we really kind of like really went into in a kind of like hyperdrive once we started to see the effects of what was going
Yeah.
on in the community. But um yeah, I mean, even just like the our little engine that could right now. I mean, I get text messages and well, not text messages, but I get emails through the website all the time that are terrible.
Really.
And then through Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. I mean, I get threats, I get this, I get, oh, I'm going to destroy your life. I'm going to, spend the
Right.
rest of my life making sure you sit in prison and blah, blah. I mean, it's just like,
Right.
but you gotta, I think you gotta like kind of like wall
Hmm.
that stuff off and just, like just realize, like take a step back and realize like how important this really is because some people think, oh, it's just a political issue or there's this is like the soul of our country.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what America is about, you know?
Hmm.
Um, and it's important. And
Yeah.
I think that like, my personal safety and all this stuff, yeah, of course that's scary and it's important, but this is also super important. I mean, I got
Yeah.
nieces and nephews and stepkids. You have kids, right?
Hmm.
Like, what's the world that we want to give to them?
Hmm. Yeah.
Certainly not this. I want them to go to something better.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I think about my mom. I was talking to my mom the other day, and of course, she's your typical mom. And she's like, I just want you to be careful with what you
Yeah, I
talk
get that
about,
one.
And I said, I know, mom, but like, you also raised me to stand up for things. She's like,
That's right.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I get that from
You
my mom
know,
all the time. Oh, Peter, please be safe.
yes,
Please be safe. I'm like, all right, I'll try.
I'm trying. Well, I just say if someone is going after my, YouTube channel with 70 followers, they're really desperate. Do you consider this app a form of protest?
Yeah, I
Hmm.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it's action. Protest is action. Yeah,
yeah,
100% I do. I mean,
yeah.
I think that um, I think that, anything that you do that is doing something to kind of correct a wrong,
Hmm.
um, is a sign of protest. So whether it's waving a flag or whether it's, holding up a sign or doing a sit-in or, you know, picking up the phone and calling your friend and saying, hey, ICE is right down the street, or, voting,
Right.
dropping a bill in a bucket to help somebody out. I mean, all of that's a sign of is a
Yeah.
form of protest. We vote, I think, for the things that we value with our time, our money, our voice, right?
Hmm.
And this is one of those things that we can choose. We can choose to say, hey, this is wrong, and I stand with these people.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I know. I think about I just have the one son, but I think about him um with this, I always say like I've lived a really full life already at 47. So like,
Yeah,
you know, I'm good, but he has his whole life ahead of him and I want
yeah,
him to be proud of this country, you know. and he's bright-eyed, and I want him to stay that way. But
Yeah.
I'm not proud of this country right now. And that's hard as someone
Yeah,
who's
me neither.
served to see the flag and kind of get a negative feeling and, see,
Ugh.
uh, hear the anthem and get like a pit in my stomach. But that's why I say things and, engage with people and try to be
See,
productive with it. But I'm like, but he needs to have these opportunities that I've had. I've had great
yeah.
opportunities, but it's
Yeah,
like,
and it's like it's sad to me that like patriotism has kind of like co-opted by the other
I
side.
know.
You
Yeah,
know, where like all of a sudden like to not do the right thing is not patriotic.
right.
It
Oh,
was a like unfortunately a masterful marketing move, which is
yeah,
just it's terrible.
yeah,
If I could, can I let me ask you something just real quick? Like,
yeah.
so when you were in the military, oh, I guess it was a long time ago, so I guess this wasn't such a pressing issue, right?
What's that?
So like, or maybe like just your relationship with the people in the military. Because I
Ah,
know that the military is it's a diverse group of people,
very.
but at the same time, I think that the military like votes overwhelmingly
Mm-hmm.
Republican.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, and what
Boy, I have spent some time thinking about that, to be
you
honest with
have?
you.
Uh,
I think some of it is historical because, even when I was in from 2000 to 2007. So those are the Bush years. And
yeah.
whether this was the reality or not, I think the Republicans did a good job of saying we're for you. We support pay raises for you. We support veterans health care for you. I think they did a good job of selling that. Um, so that especially like when you're the time in which you served is a very transformational time. And I think it sticks in your brain. And honestly, for me, I was a Republican until Trump. And then I was like,
Wow.
no.
No more.
I
Wow.
started looking into voting records. I started looking into the reality. I don't believe the Republicans do anything really for veterans anymore, but there's this historical idea that they have.
That they
Um,
have.
but I
Yeah.
think too, like, I don't know. I think there's also messaging when you're in the military. This is just a weird anecdote, but I remember being in Iraq and I was eating in Mosul in the dining facility, and it was Fox News on all the TVs.
Everywhere,
And
right?
if you switched it to CNN, people would get mad at you.
Wow.
And when I was there too, there was a lot of the people were starting to sort of question why we were there. Like Democrats were starting to say, question why we were in Iraq specifically. And so that was viewed as anti-military, even though I didn't want to go to war. I don't actually think that's a pro-military move to send somebody to combat, like
Yeah.
so anyway, I think there's just a lot of historical thing, and a lot of veterans are Second Amendment are pretty strong on Second Amendment also. So, but I don't
Yeah.
know because it's the most diverse organization I've ever worked in,
Yeah.
without a
Yeah.
doubt.
It's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, but I a lot of times I get mad when a fellow veteran is like really MAGA because I'm like, what? Why?
Why?
That's not what we
Why?
stand for. But I think I don't know, it's an identity maybe.
But it goes back to what you said. It's about having to figuring out the way to have that conversation.
Yeah,
How
it
do you
is.
break down that wall and have an honest, open conversation in good faith, you know,
Right. Yeah.
without people being like defensive and being like, oh, you're just,
Right. You're just a liberal.
you're just a lib,
Yeah.
see, you're brainwashed, blah, blah, blah. It's
Right.
like,
I
that's
like,
not what we're trying to do,
yeah, I know.
We have a
Exactly. I'm not.
conversation.
I look at news from everywhere. I look at Fox, I look at OANN. I look at CNN, because I want to get the whole picture
Yeah,
usually.
there was somebody I saw something. It was do you watch Jesse Dollemore?
Uh-uh. I don't.
You should check out.
Yeah.
He's like a political
Okay.
commentator.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Jesse Dollemore.
Okay.
He's pretty good, but he like was running the string of ads. There was some I can't remember it, but there's some like it's not a news agency, but it's kind of like I guess it's like kind of a news group that pulls in news from everywhere, and then also central
Oh,
like, and then
oh,
also
like
kind
ground
of
news, sort of. I don't know if
what's it
you've heard
called?
of ground news.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay,
like
so
ground news. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
That's a good one.
I just heard about them the other day. I gotta go check them out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like I do this, as my job. So I have all day while my son's at school to look at the news, but most people don't have that time to, or interest
Yeah,
even to like compile, all these different sites. So something like ground news is great because it kind of tells you the bias and then, yeah, puts it all together. It's really interesting.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I even go, there's another one just called bias checker. Like if I read an article, um, and I'm like, I don't
but
know, this it's
bias
just
checker.
bias checker, yeah. And you can just plug in the link and it'll kind of give you an idea of where they're leaning. Now, granted, this is something telling you where they're leaning, so you have to filter that, but it seems
Sure.
pretty accurate, So, all right. Well, I
Yeah,
know I promised you an hour and I'm a little bit over. So I got one more question.
that's okay. Go
Um,
for it.
so do you have, and I'm sure you do, but do you have any stories of people who have been helped by your app? Lots.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, just in this, a lot like, I mean, I've gotten a lot of emails from
Yeah.
people that are really like wonderful and heartwarming. We have a lot of people emailing me now that are giving their time and their expertise and stuff. We have people that are helping us on our app that are
Mm,
coders and developers,
that's great.
which is amazing. Lawyers.
Uh, yeah.
We have some really incredible stuff. But I'd say that there was it's just like on a personal note, I have a family member that when we first started the app, he drives trucks from New York down to Florida, and these trucks are filled with horses. And there were several times where he had some people with him that were not documented. And these people got caught, they would have been gone. And
Hmm.
and it was just sent me notes saying like, "Hey, thank you." These
Oh,
people are busting their butts sitting in the back of a horse van, driving hundreds and hundreds of miles to
yeah.
feed their family and send money back home. We went down and we came back up and we're here and we're safe and thank you. And
Yeah.
that felt really good. So,
Yeah.
but and I get a lot of emails from people, saying thanks and stuff. I got a lot of emails too saying some not so nice stuff, or hey,
Meh.
the app is bugging out and why can't I
Oh,
why am I seeing this? And I'm like, oh, working on it as fast as I can,
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, we're working on it. But the app is in a really good place right now. I hope
Good.
everybody that watches your
Yeah.
podcast will get out there and download the app, tell your friends, spread the word, whatever you
Hmm.
guys can do. Because like we said before, like this is juntos podemos, together we can, right? It's
Hmm.
got to be we like
Yeah.
it's not going to be me, it's not going to be you, it's got to be all of us. So I
Yeah.
hope we can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'll put all the links out as well, and all the
Thank you.
social
Yeah.
media. But I got one last thing to say. So I live in, so Yucaipa is a very red part of Southern California.
Yeah, I bet.
Very, yes. Although I don't see as many Trump flags as I used to, but we voted
Inland, it's inland.
Inland Empire. Yeah. We're
Yeah.
basically up against the San Bernardino Mountains. So it's a very, very red area. So I've looked at your app and I've looked at a couple of the others just to see where the ice presence is, because obviously it's in California. It's and you've got Ukaipa and we're pretty close to the desert also. And then, obviously west toward Los Angeles. So the closer you get to Los Angeles is where all the activity is, um, which is interesting to me, just because that doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily correlate with, any illegal immigration. So we went on Martin Luther King Day. We decided to be tourists in Los Angeles for the day because we had
Yeah.
never just done the touristy things, even though we live just 70 miles away. So we were like, we're going to go to the Walk of Fame. And I bet you, since it's MLK Day, it'll be happening. And it was like a ghost town. And
Wow.
I think it's because there's been a lot of ICE presence in that area recently, and people just like
Staying
restaurants weren't
away.
opened. Major holiday in Los Angeles, California. It was eerie. And I mean, we enjoyed being tourists, but it made me think, wow, like me as a white person, honestly, I don't think about it, but that isn't the experience. That is everybody's in America, which is why America's awesome. So for
Right.
someone to be afraid to just be out on a holiday, I
Yeah.
just, that's
And
what really,
it's killing businesses.
yeah,
I mean, I know businesses around, around me here that are like I have no Hispanic customer. Like all my entire
mm-hmm.
Hispanic customer base is not. They don't show up. They don't pay. They don't come here. They don't buy anything, and we're they're struggling.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah, it's not right,
yeah, not
just,
at all. My dogs are going crazy.
oh, what are they doing? What kind of dogs do you have?
I have they're both mutts. I have Tia. She's one of the dogs I rescued from Puerto Rico. I found her in the alley outside of my work when I was working down
Oh,
there. And I
neat.
took her home. She was like this big and this
Oh,
big. Tia, come here. Tia, come. And then I have Augie, who I just rescued from Texas. Come here. Let me see what I
oh my
got.
gosh.
He's a part Mastiff.
Oh, the big boy.
That's Augie.
Hello,
Augie, say
Augie.
hi.
Hi.
Tia, come here.
I love them. Dogs are the greatest.
Tia.
Oh, hello. Oh, this is Pia.
She's an old lady.
Oh, yeah, I got as
Usually
you
there's I'm surprised. Usually I get attacked by I have rabbits that run around the house. Usually they
I
come just
know. I'm surprised my old fella hasn't run into my
made an
camera.
appearance.
He loves to totter in here when I'm talking.
Of
And
course.
I have, videos where you can see you can see the camera go like this. I like, dog, I love you, but
Oh, because he hits it.
he hits it. He can't see very well. And he's just kind of going to my voice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How old is he?
He is 14 and he's like a medium-sized dog.
Yeah,
But he's just got like really bad arthritis. So he just kind of
kind of moves around. Yeah,
totters around. And then we've got
she's getting old. She's
yeah.
like, she just turned. I think she just turned like 12.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Like out of nowhere, she got like super gray.
Yeah.
So I saved her, and there was another dog. Her name was Lola, and I
Oh,
rescued them both. They were both little babies. I found in
oh.
this little alley outside my work in Puerto Rico. I brought them both to New York with me. I mean, they lived in a vet in Puerto Rico for a couple of months because they were both really sick. But I
Mm.
got them back to health. I brought them back home. Lola passed away like 8 months ago. And like
Oh.
almost overnight, Pia's whole face turned
Oh,
white. Like it was
no
like in like
way.
3 or 4 weeks, she just like went white and she's like aged. Like
Huh. She
because
lost
she
her
lost her
bud.
sister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she lost her sister. I know.
It's,
It's the worst part is watching them get old, you know. I mean,
it's the
Tex
worst.
has never been a high energy dog, but
Yeah.
but we have a pretty big backyard, so he would frolic. And I'm actually glad we got Luna, our golden retriever husky, because she like inserted this liveliness into him, and I
Yeah.
think she
Like,
extended his life without a doubt. But
oh, good.
sometimes he's like, get away from me,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
you
For sure.
crazy dog. who brought this who brought this puppy in the house?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, well, I've really appreciate this interview, and it usually takes me about a week to kind of get things. I'm going to try to get this edited quickly, but I'm a one man
Well,
show. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You rule.
thank you.
Have
You too. Bye bye.
a good day. I think it is really important during this time in the history of the United States that we seek sources from many different outlets because messaging matters. If you routinely go to the same channels and websites for your information, switch it up. Go to the other side. Seek disagreement with an open mind. Because I feel like we are being divided for a reason, and we need to collectively come together and decide to think really hard about what we believe and why we believe. For me, immigration is a humanitarian issue. The numbers of illegal immigrants who commit and are convicted of violent crime do not match up for the level, locations, and aggressiveness of enforcement. It just doesn't add up. The most consistent message from the Trump administration about immigration and ICE enforcement is that they're going after illegal, violent criminals, the worst of the worst. Yet in Minnesota, only an estimated 130,000 people are supposed to be undocumented, according to a 2023 Pew Research Center estimate. And that's actually on the high side compared to some other estimates. This number, like I said, which is high compared to some other estimates, means that 2.2% of Minnesota's population is undocumented at most. And compared to the national average for each state, which is between 3 and 3.3%. Minnesota does not keep stats on people who are arrested in their documentation status, so we don't really know if there are more violent, illegal criminals in Minnesota than in other places. I'll be honest, I don't really feel like the state of Minnesota is known for its violence until ICE came in. Overall, though, and according to many different research studies from the Cato Institute and to the Pew Research Center, undocumented immigrants do not commit more violent crime than citizens. According to migrationpolicy.org, many undocumented immigrants in Minnesota have been in the United States from 10 to 20 plus years, and a large percentage are of working age and work full time. 45% own homes, and 61% are 200% or above the poverty line. So they're working, they're making a living, they're owning businesses, they're contributing to their communities and to the economy. If you are sitting here watching and listening and doubting where I got my information, I'm going to post links in the notes for sure. Go look at it and explore. Challenge your beliefs. I believe that the aggressive terrorism throughout the country at the hands of ICE agents is not adding to the American experience for anyone. Maybe it hasn't arrived on your doorstep yet, but it's happening to others. And we should all care about that if we claim to love this country. This has been the Journalism of Everything. I'm your host, independent journalist, Darisse Smith. Though I post every episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and like all of the other podcast apps, I post a lot of additional content, shorts, extra episodes, bonus content, and footage on my YouTube channel, The Journalism of Everything. So please check it out. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If it affects your life, it's worth examining. Thank you for listening. This is The Journalism of Everything.